Starting off the Conservatives, we have Mr. Scheer, followed by the Liberals, Mr. Sidhu, followed by the Bloc, Mr. Barceau-Duval, and finally to Mr. Backrack of the NDP. Mr. Scheer, you have the floor for 6 minutes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. And once again, I'd like to thank all the witnesses for some very thoughtful presentations. While there may be different perspectives expressed, I certainly do appreciate all the time and effort that you've gone into this as the committee tries to understand exactly what is wrong with the Canadian Infrastructure Bank. You know, this institution that was supposed to lead to billions and billions of dollars of private sector money rushing in to help get big projects built has, of course, delivered 0 completed projects in the 4 years that it has been in existence. And its recent quarterly report shows that it has lost over $110 million of taxpayers' money without anything to show for it. So that's what this committee is all about. So it's great to hear some of the perspective from those who may object to P3s and public-private partnerships philosophically, and those that support them as a concept, but understand that the bank itself has a flawed model here, and that's what this committee is trying to get to the bottom of. So I'd like to start with Miss, and I hope I have as much success as our chair did with pronouncing your last name, but Miss Skibisky, about some of the comments that she made. In particular, about what she said about the shortfall of work, about how there's a perception that that there could be a looming shortfall of work. What we hear from a lot of municipalities is that it's not that there are a lot of shovel-ready projects. There are many applications have been put in for work. So what is causing this perception that there's going to be a shortfall of work? Is it that the dollars aren't working hand? Okay, maybe you could delve into that a little bit.
There's been a lot of projects that have been delayed. I mean, so shovel-ready it's a strange concept. There's
Ms. Skibsky, I'm sorry. I apologize. Yeah, perfect. There you go. Thank you.
So there's projects that are shovel in the ground, which means they're being built. Shovel-ready means a delayed project because nobody's going to plan and put a project together and then have it sit there and kind of wait for something to happen with it. So coming into 2020, the industry had a lot of backlog. 2019 was a really good year for construction. There was a lot of backlog that carried them through. That backlog isn't there. So even though they're working, they're doing things, but when they look sort of out a few months, there isn't that confidence that the level of work will stay with them. And I've heard some, talking with the engineering groups, when the designers start seeing kind of gaps in their workflow, that's translating down to real construction in a matter of months. And so that is it's the weakness when they looked at even Q3 and Q4 of this year. There isn't that flow of projects. And of course, sorry. Go ahead.
So am I correct in understanding that it's not because there couldn't be projects? It's not that they've built everything that needs building. It's that projects are waiting on approvals. Is that kind of the
approvals, financing? There's many reasons, and there's other issues going on. I mean, the supply chain has been disrupted for a lot of different materials and products. We haven't recovered the full labor force for construction. I mean, we were still below like pre-pandemic levels. So there's a lot of issues, but not having certainty of work has all sorts of implication on construction in terms of hiring, in terms of investing, in your own business, and the ability of taking on work. Like when a whole bunch of work comes out all at once and it looks really busy, that's not good either, because it's very hard to take on, many projects from the start, especially for trade contractors who I represent. I mean, we're talking mostly small, medium-sized enterprises. And when they start a job, they're in 2 months of their own money before they get paid, just, from the way the contracts roll out. So you take on too much work, you could damage your cash flow and have a hard time. But when you don't have enough work, you are very cautious about adding to it. So there's a lot of plans at the federal level, and we appreciate them, obviously, to look at the workforce and develop that workforce, but it needs
So thank you for that, and I'm just conscious of the time that I've got. So you mentioned one of the frustrations I share with you is the kind of lack of details that are on the Infrastructure Bank's website. And
I love data, so yeah.
no, well, good data makes good decisions. And when I hear officials at the bank, both past and present, talking about this 4 times multiplier, this idea that for every dollar of taxpayers' money that would be put into these projects, we'd be unlocking 4 times minimum, maybe even 7 times the private sector investment. Of the projects that you are able to look at on the bank's website, do you see any evidence of that? Is there any sign that private sector investment houses are pouring their money in?
I couldn't even begin to comment because all it listed was the financial commitment from the bank. And then there was a memorandum, like I went through some of it, but to see that leverage, I didn't see it. The bottom line is there's only one active project that had any money. I mean, promises, announcements, those are all great. They don't affect my members until they're actually working on it. So when it's an active project, then there's a benefit. Up until that point, it's a hope and a dream, because they've participated in projects. There was a water plant in Mapleton or something. It was supposed to be a 20 mil. That was delayed or taken off the book. So anything in the planning process is still suspect to becoming an active project.
Thank you, Ms. Kiske, and thank you, Mr. Scheer.